The first reason was that we were a bit pissed off, to be honest, because we realized quickly that the decision makers in this country had no access to data to make good decisions. COVID was such a rapidly changing environment on a daily basis. I mean, I'm sure you know what it felt like in those first few weeks of COVID. It felt like every day we were being hit by a new, like, seismic shift, and constantly things were changing. And we realized in the first couple of weeks that, wow, there's just no economic data being shared. I think a lot of times people underestimate, again, like the incredible value of just being exceptionally good at customer service. It's such an underutilized lever in the South African context. South Africans just expect poor customer service, particularly in financial services, actually. And our customer service has always been one of the things that keeps people with us. And we're particularly good at it. 80% of our customers had never accepted card before. So they were cash-only businesses. And when you take people from what's effectively the dark economy of hard cash notes being passed over a counter to a digital payments system where there's a record and you have record of sales going back month after month, you're giving people a digital footprint, which is hugely powerful and empowering in the long run.
Now, you did something quite bold during the first sort of couple of weeks of the lockdown, is releasing all of your public data, in the form of the COVID tracker. Like, tell me a little bit about that and why you did it.
For a few reasons. The first reason was that we were a bit pissed off, to be honest, because we realized quickly that the decision makers in this country had no access to data to make good decisions. COVID was such a rapidly changing environment on a daily basis. I mean, I'm sure you know what it felt like in those first few weeks of COVID. It felt like every day we were being hit by a new, like, seismic shift, and constantly things were changing. And we realized in the first couple of weeks that, wow, there's just no economic data being shared. Everything is the latest infection rates, etc., but no economic data. And we sat there and we watched the lights go off on our transaction data. And we were sitting there at one point, and actually this started in a very typical way. We just tweeted a graph, like literally like a very hacked, no beautiful design. It was a graph showing our transaction data dropping by 92% overnight, boom, as we entered level 5. And that graph went a little crazy. Like, it suddenly got shared all over the place. It had hundreds of retweets. And we were like, wow, actually what's interesting is that people clearly, although there's an information overload going on, there's very few sources that can give you a true sense of the impact of what the lockdown's doing on the economy. So we said, well, let's take that a step further, and got the data scientists involved. And this is actually a classic example of a project that, like, it came from like a little experiment, and then it was driven by a brand team, and then really beautifully executed by a data team. We sent out a video from our founder Katlego that said, like, quite simply, like, guys, we don't have any answers right now. We would love to help co-create with you, our customers, what solutions you need, and how your business is changing as we speak. And we got so much great feedback back that we actually started amending some products quite straight away. And the one thing that did come back in that process as well was like, well, we actually want to know how other people are doing in our industry across the country. Like, what are their numbers looking like? This was like as COVID was progressing. So we said very early on, like, let's be very transparent with our data. Let's do something which we actually haven't done before, which is like, we take everyone's data, we anonymize it, and we make it available by industry, by geography, so people can really dig into it and start using it for themselves. So it was for our customers and for decision makers across the country. And we created this recovery dashboard and launched it in the space of a couple of weeks. And it's been incredibly well used. I mean, I think it's exceeded our expectations in terms of the number of messages I get on a weekly basis about various forums and formats, and government's been using it, by the way. I've seen it in government presentations. Is exactly what we wanted to happen. Like, and I have no idea if this thing has impacted any kind of decision making. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's been broadly used in exactly the way we wanted it to be used, was to like have a bit of a voice for small business. I'll never know what the impact was on the greater scheme of things, but it felt good for us to do. And I think what's been interesting about it now is our philosophy towards transparency is doubled down on. Like, we want to be incredibly transparent going forward. We are a trusted financial services brand, so we will look after data better than anyone else in the country. I think some of our data and fraud management is some of the best in the country, but we will make data available in an anonymized manner when it can be used for decision making.
Ultimately, your success is a trickle down of your customers' success. So the better people do, the better you. Obviously, you can grow by adding new customers, but I think your fastest growth is going to come from people who increase their revenue and ultimately put more transactions through your machines, and then you make more money for providing the service that you do. Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.